Hey there, restaurant pros. It's David Scott Peters, and welcome to the Restaurant Prosperity Formula podcast. For over 2 decades, I've been guiding restaurant owners to success with the proven principles of something I call the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. I originally created the formula based on the daily practices of the most successful restaurateurs I coached, and it's now the foundation of what I teach restaurant owners like you so you can achieve success. What do I mean by success? Success is a restaurant owner who dictates the terms of their life and their bank account instead of their restaurants dictating those things for them. Success is a restaurant owner who has freedom from the restaurant and the financial freedom they never thought possible. How you define success is up to you, but I do know the way to achieving it is using the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. This season, I'm diving even deeper into the core elements of the formula: leadership, systems, training, accountability, and taking action. Along with my insights, you'll hear from special guests, industry experts, and inspiring success stories from fellow restaurant owners who've turned their businesses around and found their definition of success. In this episode number 131, our guest is Matt Jacobs. Matt is a restaurant entrepreneur based in Western Pennsylvania, owning and operating Ben Franklin's Tap Room and 3 Jersey Mike's locations. With a passion for leadership, growth, and community, he built a reputation for cultivating a strong team culture and delivering exceptional guest experiences. From starting as a single unit operator to expanding across multiple locations, Matt's journey reflects his commitment to scaling with purpose. He brings real-world insight and a people-first mindset to every conversation. In this episode, Matt will share his journey from covering line position shifts in his family restaurant, managing the business, and having a full-time job outside of the restaurant to now owning 4 restaurants where he only shows up to meetings with his managers and has time for his family and growing his businesses. Let's get started, but first a word from our sponsor. Look, if you run an independent restaurant and you're still tossing money at random social media posts hoping something sticks, stop. My friend Matt Plapp and his team at America's Best Restaurants have cracked the code. Their programs don't just get you likes, they drive actual sales. Whether you need new customers, want to win back lost ones, or just get your regulars to spend more, ABR's got a proven system for it. No fluff, just butts and seats. If you're ready to stop guessing and start growing, book a meeting now at business.americasbestrestaurants.com. No BS, just results. Matt, I want to thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it. I'm happy to help and jump on a call and spread some knowledge.
Well, you and I have now known each other, I want to say 2 or 3. Are we up to 3 years? I think we're coming up on 3.
July 2021.
Oh my goodness. We're coming up on
4 years.
4 years. That is crazy talk. It feels like yesterday. Now, we met obviously 4 years ago. You were in a very different space. I'm going to have you tell people about your restaurant and where you were in just a second. But I can tell you that from an outsider looking in, you were, dare I say, a typical restaurant. Family, you grew faster than you expected. In fact, you've got a story of how you grew that wasn't going to be a restaurant and turned into one, which is one of these, ta-da, guess what we're doing now? All the challenges any restaurant faces, you had them, and sometimes in spades because you're in a really small town. And, so when people say they can't find people because nobody's there, like, you live it every single day. And what's been really satisfying to see is you not only took the challenge on and became extremely successful at what you do, you have systemized your business, you have changed what you do, which we'll talk about, to a point where you have freed up time. You actually had a second career on top of this, and now you're a full-time restaurant owner with multiple locations. And I want to give everything away, but you're pretty damn impressive, brother. So do me a favor, tell everybody a little bit about your restaurant, maybe a little about the story, how you started with your family, wasn't supposed to be a restaurant, and kind of where you are and what it's like.
Yeah, so, we opened our first restaurant in 2016. It's called Ben Franklin's Tap Room and Grill. And, I was in school for physical therapy at the time when we opened. And that was going to be my career route. And we just opened this as sort of like a little side hustle. it was a convenience store and a six-pack shop. So, people could come in and mix and match bottles of beer to go, grab some convenience store items, and then hit the road and be out of there. And in order to sell six-packs in Pennsylvania, we had to have a small food menu, but it was easy. It wasn't anything complex. So it was easy to execute. And then, that's how our story started. And from there, some things changed with the laws in Pennsylvania, and we had to either close the doors or change our concept. And so we decided to do a full-blown, full-service restaurant. And we went with that path because people did like the food that we did serve, and we thought we could expand upon that and grow it from there. So that was 2 years after we opened in 2018. And then, going from a convenience store to a full-service restaurant is no easy task. And we had to learn a lot. And at this point in time, I was graduated, working full-time as a physical therapist. My dad, it was full-time heating and air conditioning guy. And my two brothers were also full-time non-restaurant people. And we were also operating the restaurant as well full-time. So we hit our max level of stress, everything else in a restaurant. And but anyways, that's where we started, and we merged into a full-service restaurant from there. So and then now currently, we have a total of going to be 4 restaurants, 1 full-service restaurant, and then it'll be 3 Jersey Mike's franchises.
Which is amazing.
So that's where we're.
And think about it. I want people to understand. Where are you exactly? Where in Pennsylvania? Little tiny postage stamp of a town. Where are you?
We're in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. So it's about an hour north of Pittsburgh. So it used to be a bigger town, and then like every other steel town in Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio, everybody started moving elsewhere to find new jobs once the steel industry left. So it shrunk a lot, and it's a smaller town now. Yeah.
So with that in mind, small town, you started as a convenience store that served food, turned into a full service restaurant. Everybody's got a full-time job, career. You've got this restaurant that is pulling at you. Tell me a little bit about what life was like before we met. Like, what were some of your major challenges?
So major challenges. I mean, we were the ones in the store every day, making sure everything was getting done. Time wise, it sucked a lot of time out of our life. The same time we were transitioning to a full service restaurant, that's when I met my wife. And so it was hard for me to hang out with her or do anything with her. Same thing for the rest of us, my brothers and my dad, we had no free time to do anything. So time was the biggest struggle. We had also, as we grew as a business, we kept adding employees. So labor was high, and we did that because we didn't have enough time. So we were like, let's just keep adding people to the shifts to compensate for that, to help us get to where we need to go. And, so time, labor, and then we didn't really have any idea of food costs, or anything like that. So I'm sure that was an issue, but we never measured it. We never did inventories. We never did, we never had recipes or anything like that. We just ran by, and kept going. So we really never organized anything into any sort of system, and that shot us in the foot and caused a lot more stress and headaches than anything else.
Now, you had sales, though. If I remember correctly, sales was not an issue. While we always want more sales, you had enough volume to pay for your debt service. You had enough volume that it should have been a profitable restaurant. Were you making money, or were you just getting by? And if you were making money, was it just because 4 of you volunteered every day in the business?
So we were making money, but we weren't taking any of it. We were reinvesting it into the business. Because we did all have full-time jobs outside of the restaurant, we were able to do that. And it actually made us grow faster and faster and faster, and we couldn't keep up. I think that was our biggest problem. It wasn't like we were making a ton of money, but it was enough to allow us to expand and add on a patio, 1 year. And then the next year we, added a whole new bar and added on slowly to different areas to make it more of a better environment for our customers
Yeah.
to help grow our business. And then that's what that growth in the 2 to 3 years that we did that is what really made us feel like we were lost and we needed a lot of help.
So you put in a ton of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of joy in your community and your business and all the things. You're 3 years down the pike. You haven't paid yourself, but you've built a beautiful business. What was going on that you sat there and said, I need help? Like, and what did you try before you found me? Did you do anything? Did you go to seminars? Did you find a coach? What were some of the things you immediately went after?
Yeah, so I want to say it was 2019 at this point. We were a full service restaurant, well into that now, and I was happened to be bartending, and I knew a guy who owns 3 restaurants down the road, and I just was talking with him one night as we were sitting there, and I was like, "So how do you run 3 restaurants at one time? Like, what allows you to be that organized to be able to do that?" And he gave me a website. It's Restaurantowner.com,
Yep.
and it was a great starting point for me. It allowed me to start learning some key terminology and to get a little bit more organized than what we were. But the thing lacking with that is it's a lot of resources all at once, and it doesn't give you a blueprint on where to start and where to finish. And so that was lacking for us there, but it did help us get a little bit ahead. And then from there, we're now into probably 2020. I probably messed around with that for 6 months to a year, just implementing some systems here and there. And now we're into 2020 and COVID hits. And so at this point in time, I'm a physical therapist. Surgeries are getting shut down. And so there's really nobody who needs physical therapy. And I got laid off from my employer. And when I got laid off, I didn't realize at the time how much freedom that gave me to work on the restaurant. And I realized this is a great opportunity to really dive deep into the restaurant and get it organized. And so from restaurantowner.com, I started listening to several podcasts. And I came across a podcast and I was listening to it, and it happened to be talking about Matt Plapp and his marketing program. And so I reached out to Matt, signed up with Matt, and in his welcome kit, he sent a welcome kit, and it actually had this book in it, and it was written by you. And I was like, well, I'm going to read this book since it was free. And I read the book cover to cover, and I was like, holy smokes, this is exactly what we need. And I talked to my dad about it, talked to my brothers about it. We reached out to you, and that's how we got connected with you.
Well, I can appreciate the fact that you went to restaurantcom. I tell everybody they should almost be a member for almost no money. They have every system in the world you can imagine. The downside is if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll never find it. It's such a wealth of information. And I happen to know Jim Laubin, who's the founder, and Joe Erickson, who's partner at the time. And I think they're the salt of the earth. I think they're a fantastic site, and every restaurant owner should be on that site. You would think I'd want to tear you away from them, but no, they've got some great stuff. The challenge is, if you don't know what you're looking for, there's so much, you may never find it. And that's kind of the difference in what we do. We tell you exactly what you're supposed to do, and here's the solution. Now, on that journey, you start exploring marketing, you find Matt Plapp, you find the book, you're going, you say, okay, that decision to say, I need help and I'm willing to go get a coach. What was that like? Because a lot of restaurant owners balk at consultants, coaches, like, why the hell? In our industry, it's almost frowned upon. You don't know how to run your restaurant. You need somebody else to help you. When in every facet in our life, we have somebody who mentors us or coaches us, and we're much more successful. But as a restaurateur, it's almost frowned on. What was that decision like as a family to say, we're going to go reach out and this guy potentially is going to coach us?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was an easy decision. I listened to a lot of podcasts, and they all say that, you should always listen to outside sources to help you grow your business, because it gives you a view that you sometimes can't see. So for me, it was an easy decision. But then I also had to talk about it with my brothers and my dad, and for the most part, they just had a few questions, but what I really sold them was, I think this will give us the freedom that we need from the restaurant, and that is what allowed them to get on board with it. And I have no issues learning from people who are smarter than me in the area. And I realized at that point that we don't know how to run restaurants. I mean, I was a physical therapist. My dad's a heating and air conditioning guy. My brother's a heating and air conditioning guy. And then my other brother was an engineer. So, between the four of us, we had zero restaurant experience. And, anybody who ran restaurants longer than us we could have learned from. So at that point, I was like, I knew I wanted to do it. I convinced my dad and my brothers to do it just because of the freedom that we thought we could get from it. And so that's what allowed us to jump on board.
Now, I think a lot of people listening, okay, family, we've got two brothers, we've got a dad involved. Like, it can be chaotic. It can be heated at times in many restaurants and their families and so on. But I do take my hat off to you and your family, because they did kind of, whether willingly or not, they gave you the ability to run it. Like when you got laid off and you were the key guy there, with the exception of some menu things that your dad held on to that I would like, get rid of that. And they're like, no, I'm holding on for dad. They gave you the freedom to make these decisions. And I think that's really important. When you've got family, one person still has to make those decisions. Would you agree that's kind of how they set you up for success, that they were willing to let you go and do it?
Yeah, 100%. If they wanted to argue every little bit of the way, it wouldn't have worked at all. It would have caused more problems than good, but they knew that if I was signing up for something, I was going to execute it, and they were okay with me taking the reins on it, and obviously consulting with them along the way on certain decisions if they were more important. It's crucial for everybody to be aligned and on the same page, and allowing one person to sort of move forward with things and move towards the better goal of the restaurant.
I think that's a critical lesson for those people who have families and are running businesses. That's, the majority of our members are family-owned businesses, independent restaurants. And when you've got people who are not on board on change, it ain't going to happen. And it just becomes drudgery to come into work and think, I've got to sell this thing, and somebody's going to tell me no, why it can't be done, and so on. And the truth of the matter is, I'm going to guess that you've made some decisions that didn't work out, but the ones that did work out are frickin' home runs. And that's kind of what entrepreneurship is, right? You've got to make a decision. You've got to make change. If not, you stagnate and die. What were some of the first changes? We start working together. What were some of the first changes you made?
So the first is, I think we went through the whole restaurant and started making checklists for everything, so that it allowed us to get out of retraining people every single night on how to properly do their tasks. Instead, whenever you make a highly detailed checklist for each position and what they're supposed to do, how good it's supposed to be done when it's finished, it really frees up a lot of your time to focus on other areas of the restaurant. So the checklist was the first thing that we knocked out and implemented with myself, and our implementer was our general manager, Brandon, who's still with us. But We both knocked that out, and that's what we started with.
When did you start seeing some changes? Because, I preach checklists all the time. I talk about Jolt, how we buy a year subscription for all of our members to Jolt. And while it's fancy, online, you could do it on paper. The realization is there are some advantages that for accountability. And people don't always look at me and go like, why keep preaching checklists? Why keep checklists don't work, and so on and so forth. And I think to a member, every time we come on, checklists come up because they truly are the keystone to all your systems. I always say, if you can't get a manager to follow a checklist, what the hell makes you think they're going to wake up a Sunday morning excited about taking inventory accurately and on time, right? It ain't going to happen. So it's changing that culture. But when you start implementing, when you start checklist and you start going into like key item tracker, waste tracker, you eventually got the recipe cards and menu engineering. You've done just about all the systems, including dollars per labor hour worked and so on, because you've been with me for a long time. early days, when did you start seeing results? When did you start to see either say, hey, my main thing was get me the hell out of the restaurant, or my main thing was to make money that we could actually take a distribution? When did you start seeing results, and what was that like?
So, I mean, we after the first couple of weeks, we started seeing results from the checklist, freed up our time to focus on other things. I mean, from there, the biggest thing I think we noticed after that was, we needed to organize our kitchen and focus on that. Recipe costing cards, making sure everything is made the same way every time so the customer receives consistent, delicious meal. We got that out of the way. And then I think that's when we started noticing results, and we were able to walk away from pretty much all the shifts, 3 to 6 months into the program, somewhere in that time frame, which was great. It freed up a lot of our time, and allowed us to then focus on growing the business even more from there. But I'd say 3 to 6 months. And the biggest thing that we seen is we were no longer working the shifts. After that is whenever we started focusing on getting our labor under control, seeing where we needed to put people, how many people we needed on each shift. And from there, we became a lot more profitable.
So, were there any unexpected shifts? I mean, because you were looking for freedom, you were looking to make money, but was there something that you didn't expect that happened as you went through the program?
You're making me think back now. I got to think about that. It was so the good question. I don't know if I have a great answer for that off the top of my head. I mean, the biggest thing for me was getting my freedom back, and that's the main thing that I remember. I mean, we're talking 4 years ago, David. So like for me to remember something super specific, I just know that was the biggest thing for me, was getting my time back to enjoy life again. And that I wasn't expecting for that to happen so quickly. I'd say that was the biggest surprise.
All right, so let's talk about that, because that segues into two things. In that 4 years' time, you've grown your family. Now there's children in the picture. You have decided to go in to become a franchisee in a Jersey Mike's. And I can tell you, I used to be a franchisor. You and I had conversations as you were looking at it and all the discovery. And we talked legalese. We talked about, oh my God, it's the business of franchising and so on and so forth. And you sold me on the fact, because I'm like, there's no way in hell you want to be a franchisee. You're an independent restaurant operator. And the truth of the matter is, you found a good franchisor, which is not always easy to do. It is a solid economic system. It's a good brand. I mean, you're knocking that out of the park to a point where in a very short period of time, you are now looking at opening your third location. 2 are open. You've got a third coming. How does that happen? You go from running day-to-day shifts. You were bartending. The beginning of our story is you were the frickin' bartender on duty. Now, how much time do you spend in the restaurants? How is it that you are looking to have 4 restaurants? Like the guy that was sitting at the bar you were talking to, how's that possible?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you have to have a great team and training program to allow you to do that. And the systems for your team to run the restaurant properly. So you have all the systems. We run those systems every single day. We train our team to run those systems. So everybody knows how to run all of your systems as far as management goes. That allowed us to really step back and examine, what we wanted to do. So in February of 2022, my daughter was born. And then that's whenever I went to go get some food because we don't want to eat hospital food. So I went down the road, seen a Jersey Mike's. It was the first time I was in there. And fell in love with it. I was like, this is a great concept, but I would have never been able to do that without great training systems and key people in the key places that we needed them. So that first off is number one, the team and the training, and then the systems. And then from there, we realized how much less time we were spending in the restaurant. So like I do the bookkeeping for our restaurant still, so I have a little bit more time than most people. But if I were to get rid of that, I would probably go in a couple of times a week just to have meetings with the managers. For the most part, at our family restaurant, they're a solid team. They're great. I love them, and couldn't do it without them. But they give us the freedom to continue to expand to make other people's lives better as well. That's one reason why we wanted to continue to expand, is to grow a bigger business and allow promote from within. But I kind of got lost rambling here for a second. But that's the main thing, is you have to have a good team in place, and then that freed us up. And now I'm only in the restaurant a couple of hours a week, just having manager meetings. And once I hit that point, that's when I knew we're ready to start other adventures with, and that's when we jumped into Jersey Mike's.
And you're crushing it. Let me just ask you real quick on the Jersey Mike's side of things. You bought a franchise. They come with systems. They come with support. Are you better prepared for that as a franchisee? Do you find the things that you've learned in this program are helping you as an owner there that maybe they don't cover? What's that like from being an independent versus being a franchisee, of a licensee of a system?
Yeah, so obviously Jersey Mike's has a lot of their own systems already in place, training materials, etc. But for our first opening, I was almost over prepared for that opening, just because I knew everything in advance that's going to need done in order to run a restaurant successfully and to keep my time free. So, a lot of your systems are a little bit more specific than theirs. So I still used some of your systems, maybe not all of them,
Yep.
but to translate over to the Jersey Mike's. And so I'd say the biggest thing I get is the accountability from this, and the like holding people accountable to the systems, and that translates to any business. And so, as long as you have the systems in place, you can do it with any sort of type of franchise, any sort of independent restaurant, quick service. It doesn't matter. It all corresponds to the same exact thing.
Yeah. In fact, the systems you're using at Jersey Mike's, they're the same shit. It's theirs. There's nothing new in the restaurant business. I try and tell people I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I've been drinking, so you know that. So the fact, you've seen me in Vegas, but the fact of the matter is, it's math. It's counting shit. You may call it something else, but there's really nothing revolutionarily new in the restaurant business other than deciding you're not going to run the business the old way, being, the more hours you put in, the harder you work, the more prisoner you are to your business to be successful, versus you can actually run one or more locations and not have to be there daily. You have to lead it. You have to hold it accountable. You have to make sure you're leading your team, but you don't have to physically be there 7 days a week to make it work. And whether it's a franchise, whether it's independent, it's the same principles. The difference is how much is on you versus a logo, a proven system, marketing that would hopefully pay off and drive you into that. What's your life like today? Like, just life, business?
Yeah, so today, we got my wife and I. We have 2 kids and a third one on the way, due in October. I know.
That's
so
crazy.
Life's gonna be great. We're also due to open our next store in October, so my life's going to be busy in October. But I'm prepping now to get ready for that at that point in time, so I spend less time in the stores. Going backwards a little bit. A lot of people from Jersey Mike's were like, expect to be in the store 6 months to a year before you get organized. And one thing I want to tout is, because of all the experience we gained from this program, and learning how to actually properly run a restaurant, I was off of the schedule at our first Jersey Mike's within 1 month. And so, I thought that was absolutely amazing. And I'm aiming for the same thing with this next location, so that I could spend time with my wife and newborn at home in October. But that's where we're at. We're also, always looking to improve our current businesses. So, we strategize a lot. We have weekly meetings as owners to discuss which direction we want to go with the business. But for the most part, I have manager meetings every Thursday of the week, every week, and that's my main meeting day. And then outside of that, the other 4 days during the week, that's when I just research and development and try to figure out new things that we can do to grow our business. And that's my day to day. I mean, I love working, so I don't really have a whole lot of hobbies outside of that. My wife and kids are my hobbies outside of work, but other than that, I work and I hang out with my family. So that's today.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Now, I also want to share with people, you're one of my Mastery Plus members, so they're trying to figure out why the hell would this guy stay for 4 years? You started as a restaurant transformation intensive, an RTI member, and you were a top performer and got invited in the group and so on and so forth. But it might blow people's mind to think that you joined a program, yet you're here 4 years later. Why are you here 4 years later? Like, you've learned all my shit, right? What is it that keeps you coming back and continuing to work with the Mastery Plus group and us as coaches?
Well, I mean, every day is different. So new things are popping up within the business that you've never dealt with. And whenever you have a group that you can go to and ask questions and bounce ideas off of, that is key. That is everything, because they might have already ran into the same issue and they could save you time and money by me just asking the group a question, or you coaches as a question, and so every day is a new puzzle, and sometimes you got to figure it out with help from others. And so that's why I'm a part of the group still, and it's a great little community that we've all built together and got to know each other real well, and it's great to have that support.
Plus, when you talk about the community part in the restaurant business, you may have friends that are entrepreneurs, but they don't understand the restaurant biz. Like, the only person understands what the hell you've walked through is somebody who walks in your shoes. And I swear nobody else understands.
Exactly. Yeah. Restaurants are their own beast.
Absolutely. 2 more questions. The first being, what would you tell somebody who's been circling for a while, listening to my podcast, looking at my YouTube videos, reading my book, maybe reading the blog, haven't taken an action? What would you tell somebody thinking about joining my program?
I would say just jump in and do it. It's worth every single penny. The money we've saved from learning the systems, not only the money, but the time as well, has made us thousands and thousands of dollars, because we've been able to do these other ventures and grow our business. And it also helped our employees as well.
Yeah.
We were able to improve our employees' lives because we were able to give promotions as our business grew. And that is also a great feeling, not only when you can help yourself, but also help your team members who are always there for you and willing to help you whenever you need it. And it's great to do that. So I think that is also another thing that I wasn't expecting from this program is allowing your team to grow with you and to help them throughout life. And it's a great feeling. So just from those, I'd say jump in and hit the ground running with all of your systems.
I appreciate that. Last question.
Yeah.
This has been great. If there's one thing we didn't talk about that you'd like to share, a favorite book, a quote, a something that can help everybody who's listening, what would that be?
The most recent book that I read, it's a book called Traction. It's a great book. It's another business book, but it's to help us organize almost like communication between our management team. Now that we have multiple locations, it's something to just add to your systems that we're already currently doing. So it's called Traction. It's about Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS, it stands for. But it's a great book.
It's a phenomenal system. I think we now have 3 of you as members. I think I've got another 3 that are about to jump on. We had a coach come out and speak at our Mastery Plus meeting. You weren't able to make it there for that one because he had a store opening. With that said, we're operating it internally in our business as well. And so what I tell people is EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, the book Traction, got to read it. It truly takes kind of what we do and puts it on steroids in the sense that we're the restaurant specific operating systems. We help you with culture and management and so on. But I always talk about the first piece of the restaurant prosperity formula is leadership. Well, the EO system is leadership on steroids. Like, you can't help but lead your company forward because you are specific and clear on your core values. You are specific and clear on who belongs on your team. You're specific and clear on your rocks, your goals, the to-dos, your challenges, and there's an actual damn system to make sure you are paying attention to those things on a quarterly basis. So I can't wait to see your results, because I think you've been in the system a few months now, but I've seen the results that we've gotten, other members have gotten. And so I'm going to back your recommendation 100%. That book Traction is a must for any entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Dude, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I couldn't be any prouder to see the changes you've made. And just like your family was willing to trust you because you would take action, it is a pleasure to see what you've done, and even talking you out of being a franchisee, because you're already on fire. So it's very difficult for people like you to follow somebody else's system, but you have done exactly what you've done with me. You said, I'm going to follow the damn system and it's going to work. And it's pretty incredible to see your success. So I appreciate you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and appreciate you inviting me to jump on the call and spread some knowledge. So thank you.
Ready to take the next step towards achieving restaurant prosperity, freedom from the daily grind, and the financial success you deserve? Book a discovery call with Ryan James to learn about our group coaching program. Ryan will guide you through how our program can transform your restaurant and help you achieve the prosperity and freedom you've been striving for. Click the link in the description below or visit dsp.coach/talk-to-Ryan to schedule your call now.